Okay, so here's the deal with this video. Not only am I being blinded severely, I'm sorry I look a hot mess, and I'm also not naked. It always looks like I'm naked when I'm wearing a cami and, you know, my hair's down because I have long hair. So here's the deal. I know I've made a few videos on this subject, but I'm going to continue to make them forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever until people start understanding them better. The sun sucks. Alright, you're coming back here with me. It's gonna be handheld for a minute. The reason I even feel the need to talk about this again and again and again is because it's still a very misunderstood thing. It falls into the classification of mental illnesses, mental disorders, that people don't get and don't seem to take seriously because, first of all, they can't see it. Second of all, the person with it seems fine in their eyes and normal, so it's not as apparent as, say, somebody with, like, I don't know, Asperger's or maybe bipolarism even. You know, it's not as detectable because it's something that's very circumstantial and just kind of happens whenever it feels like happening. I mean, it's always there, but it's not always apparent on the outside to people because no one can see the mental struggle that you're going through sometimes on a daily basis with this kind of thing. I've been wanting to make a video about depression for a long time now, but it keeps getting sidestepped for the social anxiety thing, and that kind of makes me feel like a knob in some way because depression is like such a serious thing and it definitely needs to be addressed. And I do also suffer from that as well, but it's not as prominent for me as the social anxiety thing. And the social anxiety thing, I am literally so tired of trying to explain to people. It gets to the point of where I feel like I've had to explain it so many times, even to the same people, because it's like, I don't know, they forget or they don't seem to get it. So I just have to explain it over and over and over, and it's very tiring and very frustrating because it starts after a while to sound to me, because it comes out of my mouth so many times, it sounds like an excuse. And I know it's not. Those of you who know, you know it's not an excuse. It is a legitimate reason for stuff. But if you have to keep saying it, you feel like you're using it as a crutch. It's like, oh, I can't do that. I have social anxiety disorder. Oh, I can't be in that situation because I have social anxiety disorder. I have to decline because I have social anxiety disorder. It starts to sound like, oh, this is just some kind of excuse that I'm using to get out of, like, everything. And it sucks that it even feels that way to me. You know what I mean? Even though I know darn well I try so hard to deal with this all the time, and I've done so many things out of my comfort zone just to try and battle it without using it as an excuse. But it doesn't freaking help when people just refuse to understand. They just don't listen, they don't understand it. And I know that those of you who have this, any anxiety problem or any mental health issue, you know what I'm talking about. You feel me, because it's like, it's not as simple as being like, oh, I can't go on that roller coaster. I actually have heart palpitations. I have a heart murmur. And be like, oh God, no, I totally understand. I totally understand. Yeah, I got you. And that's it. That's it. It's like people get physical conditions. That clicks immediately. But it's like, if you say I have a mental health issue, it's like one of three things happens, in my experience. The first thing is they don't believe you and think that you're just saying that to get out of something. But I mean, they're not so crass as to usually reveal that to you, but they're just kind of like, okay, I don't believe in mental illness. They're like those people. If you're really that arrogant to not believe in something just because you don't have it, get out of my life. You know what I'm saying? The second thing that happens is that they hear you and they want to understand, but they don't. And then they do what they think will help by either pep talking you or trying to tell you it will be okay, which is basically what a pep talk is. And the third thing is they'll be like, oh yeah, I totally understand. But yeah, can we go ahead and do it anyway? Because, like, yeah. It's like they say they understand, but then they clearly don't. So those are my experiences with that. Oh, this is annoying. Give me 1 second. Just let me kind of just go through this one more time for the people who really need a refresher on this. There's different types of mental health issues, obviously. There's different types of anxiety. The one that I'm specifically talking about right now is social anxiety. Let's focus on the word social, because even people who have anxiety issues try to identify with me. Oh yeah, I have anxiety too. I totally get where you're coming from. So like, let's go out and let's go eat and let's go be around all these people and, you know, be all rowdy and do all this stuff. And I'm just like, I don't think you get it. Why don't you get this? You're telling me that you get it, but you clearly don't. So I'm very confused. And then I feel like I'm raining on everybody's parade by being like, I can't do that. I have a real problem with that. I'm not comfortable with that. I will physically have a panic attack. Like, going back and using the example of somebody with, like, a heart problem. Like, if you had a friend in your life that had a chronic heart condition and was prone to cardiac arrest, how do you think they would feel after a while if all of your suggested activities were like, hey, let's go skydiving. Hey, let's go to Six Flags and ride all the roller coasters. Hey, let's go through every haunted house that has all these jump scares. You would start to kind of sound like an insensitive dick after a while, you know? Because your friend would just be like, dude, how many times do I have to tell you? Like, I'm going to have a heart attack if I do these things. Do you, like, not pay attention? Yeah, that's how we feel. Like, people will constantly misunderstand what my specific anxiety is and what it prohibits me from doing and what that means to me. Because I do not have general anxiety. I can't identify with someone who just has anxiety. I admit that. I completely admit that, because the only thing that my anxiety centers around is social situations. Social anxiety. It's different than just anxiety in general. And I'm not saying it's more severe. I'm not saying it's less severe. It's just different because they can't identify with me. I can't identify with them, and I'm not going to pretend that I can, because I have no idea what other people feel anxiety about, what their other sources of their anxiety is. For me specifically, it's the social thing. I'm talking in circles, I'm sorry. For me, the social anxiety, the reason that it is that is because it specifically centers around interacting with other human beings in, like, any capacity, shape, or form at all. Point blank. If it has to do with people, it terrifies me. Every time I would start a new job somewhere, and I always worked at the same place, so the job was always the same, but it didn't matter. If I started at a new place, it would take me a really long time to get used to answering the phones or dealing with walk-in customers, because I was genuinely terrified. Because I was in a new situation, new coworkers, new place, new space, new environment, new people. New people. That's the key word there, new people. And I'm not used to my coworkers yet. Answering the phone is terrifying, because if I run into a problem where I don't know what a coupon code is, or I don't know the address because I'm new to the area, you know, and I don't something, and I have to ask for help, that's two strangers that I have to talk to, and it's scary. It's very scary, as opposed to where I can just, like, do the job that I know, do my thing until I get acclimated, and then I can kind of step out into the social territory. Forget delivery driving. Forget it. Take it off of my repertoire of anything that I would ever want to do in my entire life. Screw that. There is nothing more panic-inducing than trying to find someone's house and walking up to their door and knocking on the door and waiting for them to and like having to have an exchange. That is the single most terrifying thing that I can think of ever. Like, oh, absolutely terrifying. So, and people don't get that, and people just always are trying to talk me into, oh, you'll get used to it. Oh, it'll be fine. I get that people mean well, but my God, it's brain chemistry. Like, unless you are going to open up my brain and physically tinker with the wires, which I'm sure you don't have a medical degree to do, you're not gonna be able to help me, especially with, like, a pep talk. Like, I get that people mean well, but I don't want people to mean well. I want people to understand, you know? Like, the heart, going back to the roller coaster heart palpitation thing, would you tell someone, oh, it'll be fine, we'll get you through this, it'll be okay. Just try it, you'll get used to it. Like, I get it, it's not quite as severe, but the worst that will happen for me is I will have a full-blown panic attack. And a panic attack is not fun. If you've ever had a panic attack, you would know what I'm saying. And it's not exactly comparable to a heart attack. I get that. It's not like life-threatening, but it is a physical response to elevated anxiety levels, and it can put you in the hospital. It is debilitating. It is real. It is completely legit. So people just kind of don't think like, oh, it'll be okay and don't worry about it. That's the thing. It's like I try so hard to not just crap on things all the time, because that's where it's so difficult to meet new people and explain
over and over and over and over
this anxiety problem. If people are like, hey, what are you doing later? You want to hang out in like 15 minutes? I'm just like, like, that's what happens inside of me. Like, I freak out if someone is like last minute plans, last minute anything, if my phone rings. Impromptu interaction, impromptu plans, impromptu anything having to do with another human being is terrifying. And that's what, because my brain decided to be that way. I didn't choose that. I would never choose that. I can't turn it off. I can't tell it what to do. You sure can't tell it what to do if I can't even tell it what to do. Petrificus totalis, that's kind of what social anxiety does, just like that. There is no way around it. You know, sometimes I feel social. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes I'll be able to go out to Walmart or gas station and have a little chit chat with the cashier and have it not, you know, petrify me like Neville in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Sometimes it's okay, but it's not because I decide to do it that way. It's not like, oh yeah, okay, today I think I'll be social. Yeah, sure, I'll be social today. My brain makes up its own mind. I have no control over it whatsoever. And there will be days where I will be at the top of my game and I'm okay. And I'm like, okay, I have known about this gathering of 200 people for 3 days now. Good. That's like actually short notice for me. I prefer to have like more like a week to prepare for something like that. I just need to mentally prepare. That's just what it is. And if I've known about something for a little bit ahead of time, I can do it, and you know, I can muddle my way through it, and it's okay. Like, for example, there was recently a picnic thing on the military base, and Mike said that I could come because it was like just a big going away thing for some very important people, and a bunch of people were coming, but he didn't tell me how many at first. He was just like, okay, you know, we're gonna have this thing, and you know, you're allowed to come, and you can come with me and everything. And I was like, all right, gotta start mentally prepping myself for this. Like, my, you know, my heartbeat went up, like it elevated just him saying people. Like, so I'm just like, okay, I can deal with this. So I thought there'd be like 50 people. I didn't know. The day before we were gonna go, Mike was like, oh yeah, there's gonna be like 200 people. I was like, boy, am I glad you told me, because if I would have walked into that not prepared, I would have freaked out and like cried in the bathroom. Like, that's how that would have gone. To my everlasting dismay, that actually did happen at a rehearsal dinner for a wedding of his friend we went to a couple years ago. And I was fine up until the rehearsal dinner, and I didn't realize it was going to be like this huge room with a bunch of people, and I had to sit at a table with a bunch of people I didn't know, and I had a complete like meltdown, and I had to leave, and I felt so bad, and it was so embarrassing. I went outside and I just like bawled my eyes out, and it was terrible. And that's what happens. I have no control over it. I can't talk myself into feeling better about it. It just happens. I can't do anything about it. That's mostly why I was crying, because it's so frustrating and so embarrassing to not have control over a part of your brain where no matter what you do or how prepared you are, it can just turn on you and be like, no, you are not going to be okay with this because I said so. I had mental preparation for the thing that Mike took me to. I knew there was going to be 200 people there. I had a day to sort of mentally prepare for it. I'm like, okay, I feel fine. This is going to be okay. Mike is by my side the entire time. I'm all right. I can do this. I can do this. I'm good. I felt pretty good about it. It was all right. We walked in, and I just kind of like did one of these, and I just like scrunched down like a freaking pill bug and kind of half hid behind Mike. And I'm like, okay, I'm scared. And he did the most wonderful thing anybody could have probably done in that situation. He didn't try to talk me out of it. He didn't try to baby me. He put his arm around me and just stood there with his arm around me and held me close. And that made it all better. That magically made me feel so much better, because I felt like, okay, I'm not alone. He took my hand and he didn't let go of it the whole time. And then I was all right. I met some of his coworkers. We had lovely chats. I laughed. They laughed. We took our food and ate it outside as opposed to inside with like the 200 people in the whole big building. Because Mike understands. It's like he would have been fine eating in there, but he understands. And he was like, do you want to eat outside by ourselves? I said, yes, please. So we did that, and that helped too. So I just had to like ease myself into it. No matter how confident I was, no matter how much I thought I could handle it, my brain decided, nope, that's what goes on, and there's no way to know when it's gonna strike. You just kind of know, always be prepared for it to strike. That's kind of how it is. So when someone says something to me that if the suggestion of it strikes terror into my heart, I'm probably not going to be okay with it. And I don't know how to explain it. I can't keep explaining it because it makes me feel so horrible. And it's harder to deal with and harder to get past and harder to live with when you have to keep bringing it up as a reason to not be normal. Oh, hey, a bunch of friends and I are going to this restaurant in 5 minutes. Meet us there. All of those factors, just saying them to you as a for instance made my heart race. It's so hard to make friends and meet new people when you have this holding you back. And then when you get invited somewhere, you get so scared that you have to say no. And it's like, how do you tell people like, okay, I know I just met you and I like don't know you like at all. But if you want to be my friend, you have to like give me like a week's notice if you want to hang out. Never ever call me. Never bring anybody else that you didn't tell me that you were going to bring. Understand that I'm probably going to go cry in the bathroom at some point or another if we're in public together. We can never go out to eat. And they're going to be like, okay, see you never. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's such a struggle to try to get people to understand. Duh! Do you see what I'm saying? Oh god, this is such a long video, but it's like, this is all on my mind because it's just, I move a lot and I meet new people a lot, and it's like, I have to keep explaining this. So can you imagine how people are when they don't spend a bunch of time around me or they don't listen or they don't remember, and I have to keep repeating myself, and they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this thing, and I'm like, okay, I told you like 5 times I can't do stuff like this. Why won't you listen? Like, please remember this. Please just remember, because I'm so tired of explaining it, and I'm so tired of just get this about me. Please just understand. Just work with me, please. Oh, that's like the best thing you can do for somebody with any kind of anxiety is just understand. Don't make excuses. Don't try to pep talk them. Just understand and accommodate. For the love of God, it's just accommodate us. Just get it so that we don't have to always feel like we are an inconvenience or a hindrance or have a disability or something. Like, just accept and accommodate. Like, please. Please. Well, that's all I had to say about this for now, anyway. Thank you for watching, And share this video with people in your life that you want to understand, because that's the idea here, is just trying to get people to understand and spreading awareness, because Lord knows we need it. So please subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. I love you forever, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.